This home video series combines man and machine, defines metal and mud, and rewinds the most outrageous monster truck and mud buggy incidents for a second look. This is Mud and Monster Madness! Let's kick things off with one of the more unusual monster trucks, Snakebite. Outstanding paint scheme and a bizarre reptilian design, plus a 460 cubic inch supercharged engine. My guess is Detroit won't make this a production model. Okay, driver Colt Cobra. He's no stranger to the roller coaster rides monster trucks take all over the country. Suspension, very important. You're either going to nose in or belly up. Rule of thumb in a monster truck, if you can get one wheel touching the surface, you're going to be able to pull it out. He was awfully lucky on this run. The replay shows us when he lands, he's in a nose-down attitude. Then watch the rear of the truck. It will actually kick up. That's where the problem comes from. The fight for control in Lima, Ohio. What a crowd pleaser. The people were going crazy as the driver tried to drive it out, but he still made contact on the top end of the track. What did he make contact with? The safety barriers. You know, I was interested to talk to him after this run. He really had his hands full. All types of gyrations on this run. Let me ask you a question. We've been watching you on the top end of the track. You are getting your neck wrung every time this truck lands. I mean, your head is really ripping around in there. Does that bother your neck at all?
Snakes don't have necks.
You know, he's got a point there. You know, I never liked spiders and snakes myself anyway. Hey, another harrowing ride of 6 tons, monster truck, monster patrol, Dodge Express. Keep your eye on the guy in the lane closest to us. Watch the attitude of the truck. And even though the Monster Patrol in the right lane was the first over the finish line, all the action took place on the Dodge Express side. In monster truck racing, you gotta hit with both front tires the object you're jumping. This is what happens when you don't. It's called yaw, an aircraft term for flying sideways. Speaking of flying, Kirk Dabney, one of the privateers, drives a truck known as Overkill. Well, he got a little bit overkilled in this qualifying session. Once he's out of shape, he's at the mercy of gravity right now. The truck holds up. The driver walked away. Can't say the same for the fiberglass body. Dabney, when he lands, the rear suspension collapses on the truck. See? Comes around on him. Now he's at the mercy. He's trying to get on the gas. He's trying to throttle up. No, he's too far over. We told you the theory. If you can get one tire to touch, you can usually pull it out. Not the case with Overkill, an appropriate name for this run. As we've said so many times before, Kirk Dabney walked away. We cannot say the same for the truck. Tough break for Overkill. He'll be back for another day of racing, but that's what it takes. Speaking of what it takes, King Kong, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. This guy's an up-and-comer out of the Lone Star State of Texas. Everybody knew that this front-motored behemoth out of the Texas state was going to be tough to run. It was a new track. Nobody knew what the top end held, especially King Kong on this run against the Carolina Crusher. On the throttle, through a pole, upside down and on top of, yes, ladies and gentlemen, landed on top of 2 police cars. Both trucks left the starting line good. Kong takes a bad bounce. Notice again the rear suspension going. He's on the gas. The smoke tells you that. Clips off the Union 76 sign. Now he's trying to pull it back in. 4-wheel drive, 4-wheel steer, but nothing's going to stop it from rolling. On 2 brand new police cars. Ever had a ticket, want to get revenge? This might be a classic case of it here. However, I don't think it was intentional. You can see the rear strut that is broken on the right rear of the vehicle. Had a chance to talk to him. Had to be a spooky ride.
you drivers have to do something that's almost unnatural. That is, when you get in trouble, you have to gas the engine. That's exactly what you did. I cannot think of anything you could have done different to get out of that situation.
Well, I don't know. You know, I seen that sign coming up, and all I was trying to do was get it turned back over on its wheels, but nothing worked, you know.
Ironically, this is the very first time that these vehicles have been out. The previous police cruisers were damaged by Hurricane Hugo, and we told these guys you don't need to be parking at the end of a monster truck course. Well, I hate to have been there when he called the chief to tell me about the little accident the police cars had been in. Speaking of accidents, this is a rolling one. It's called, that's right, folks, the Grave Digger. Dennis Anderson is back in town, and you talk about a crowd favorite. A driving style, all his own. The Erie red lights tell you one thing, you're going to get 100% from this hearse. A flying hearse at best. No matter whether you're running on a figure eight that's made of asphalt, or you go racing on the straight monster truck courses, Dennis Anderson is going to give you your dollar's worth. Like the Battle of the Hatfield and McCoys, everybody has their favorite, whether it's King Kong, but the name Gravedigger keeps popping up, whether it's against Nightlife, USA 1, or any of the monster trucks on tour. Gravedigger was the one everybody wanted to see. Out of Kill Devil Hill, North Carolina, the kid made a name for himself. The Gravedigger, the monster truck to beat, Dennis Anderson. We'll have more monster trucks a little bit later, but now, the daring downsize, kissing cousins of the monster trucks, the hometown heroes and their daily drivers, those magnificent rough and tumble tough trucks. Here's one of our favorite tough truckers. His name's Shane Ballard. We don't know if it's white on black or black on white, but it is International Scout, short wheelbase, and the crowd in Springfield, Missouri really got a taste of what tough trucking was about. Why? Well, at the finish line, the normal jump is about 3.5 to 4 feet tall. Check this one out, over 6 feet tall. That's called airing one in right there. Shane Ballard. Standing up, the crowd goes nuts. He brought air to the world right there. Alex Naos in the Ford Bronco. Yeah, we're in Pennsylvania now, and he had the crowd on their feet. You know, he was very, very aggressive, and the crowd gets after it. The wilder the crowd, the wilder the truck. It's a vicious cycle. Once again, he's airing that rascal out. We'll ask him a little bit later, said if he had it to do again, take it a little bit easier. But the crowd, they want more. Then there was Bruce the Moose Scott out of Springfield, Missouri. The first year he came out in his Jeep CJ, literally drove it to the chain link fence. Once again, the crowd, yeah, you're right, they wanted more. Well, a year later, they got more. The Moose showed up in a 73 International Scout. It's stripped down, it's racy, and this guy was ready to go. However, we were watching him in a qualifying session, and we noticed the front wheel's a whole lot smaller than the back wheels, and that just may have contributed to what happened a little bit later in the competition. On your nose, in your face, on your head, the Moose. Now, the replay's going to come up. We found out the Moose was okay, but the front tires definitely did play a role. You notice the front tire's a lot shorter than the rear tire? When the truck nosed over, it's what they call high-sided. Front tires weren't big enough to hold it up. and Moose goes on the lid. We had a chance to talk with him. He was still happy.
We're glad to see you doing okay.
Yeah, it's more fun than it is anything, but we like to put on a show for the crowd, and it helps to get on TV every once in a while. Thank you, Army.
Next stop, we saw driver Dave Fontanetta get on his head with the Team Yeehaw vehicle. Fontanetta follows the circuit with his family, was really looking good, but you might keep an eye on what he just did there. He reached up for the roll bar, something you should not do. Drivers are trained not to do it. But your psychic says when you're going on your head, your hand's going out to protect it. He was okay. Crowd again. They still wanted more. Somebody help me with this seatbelt here, will you? Well, let's watch the flip one more time. But you know what? I did catch up with him for an interview. I was kind of amazed at how laid back and easy going this guy was. It didn't seem to bother him a bit.
You guys are supposed to be doing this for fun.
It was fun. It was fun until I saw the ground coming up, and I said, uh-oh, yeehaw!
Well, we'll let you get over with the EMT. They want to check you out. We're glad you're okay.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to end this segment by watching a night run of Kevin Bliley in a lime green Jeep. He missed a turn. Boy, and he knew he was in trouble because the crowd was getting really rough this time. There's only one way he can redeem himself. That's right. We're back to the jump. And remember, you don't finish till you hit the tire. He almost went over. They're after him. He's cranking the motor. Will he hit the tire? Oh, yeah. It's over for Kevin. In addition to tough trucks, nearly every race has yet more thrills. Here's just a sample. Ooh. Mud throwing machines are out to prove they are not stick in the mud. They're mightier than the muck and stronger than dirt. Part of the National Mud Racing Organization, the awesome Mud Buggies. Buggies come in all shapes and sizes, and all they have to do is drag race to a couple of 100 yards of slick mud and gooey muck. We've seen many times before, anytime you get two or more competitors that go for the brass rings, strange things have a way of happening. They tend to go beyond the envelope. Take Brian Harrod driving the Surf Rat in the far lane. Up against the Chatterbox. Watch him right off the start line. This will show you what a broken axle will do. Immediately hook the vehicle to the right. This young gun making a name for himself in the sport. I'll have to wait for another day. You watch the vehicle make a move, 1,500 horsepower, scoopers on the back, tread tires on the front. As soon as he comes out, you can see he's in trouble. But his competitor, you can also see, has gone the other way. Mike Pacina and the Racemaster chassis combination. Kind of a strange combination in this sport. It works on land, hard land, but not so good on mud. The balance to the rear didn't work as Mike hooked a rut and tagged the hay bale at the finish line. It's all a game of balance, and Mike found out the rear motor combination just did not work for him. Replay shows us Mike coming after the run, gets hooked on the right side of the track, and literally wipes out the clocks. So he just couldn't help it. Car had a mind of its own from half track on. This is the working half of the wild thing. And it looks like this should be the subject of our next little escapade, but that's not the case. Keep an eye on the vehicle closest to you. Yeah, Bruce Wilson comes out with the Blue Bandit. Makes a good run through the course, but look what happens when he shuts her down. Left turn, Clyde. Remembering if you get one corner to stick, it'll go back right side up. Not the case here. You can see him gas the motor when he came out of the pit. Shutdown area is important in a mud racer. You got to remember they're mucky and muddy and everything. And not all is well when you make a good run. There's two races here, one in the pit and one getting it stopped. He made it through the pit. Stopping was the hard part here. Next angle shows you he made a clean run through the pit, kind of hydraulicked it a little bit, bounced a little bit, but got it turning sideways. And that's what you try to do is to scruff off speed like a sprint car. However, you can also high side it like a flat track motorcycle racer. That's what happened here. Bruce Wilson was okay, and the Blue Bandit actually went back into the pits. Yeah, Bruce wound up being the loneliest guy at the track that day. That wasn't all the action. Let's go over to the another blue vehicle. This one out of Intercourse, Pennsylvania, and there's a right time and a wrong time to hit the throttle. Beef Tea Blue, the name of the vehicle. The crowd loves it. It's a full-bodied vehicle, 1,500 horsepower. The driver knows nothing but full boogaloo double throwdown. LS showing us right here. On the gas, off the gas, on the gas, off the gas. Wrong time. Should have been off the gas. No, should have been on the gas. I don't really know. And I wouldn't even upside down. It shows you he hooks a rut on the right side. That means he climbs the berm. The vehicle makes a move. And once it starts to come up the berm, if you stay on the throttle, it's just going to have to work its way over. And that's exactly what Big Al did to the tune of the old blues song, over and over and over. Replay again shows you the vehicle makes a good move, but once it gets caught on the right side, he can do all he wants. See, the back of the vehicle comes around. Now he's hooked the rut, he's on the berm. He's actually trying to back out of the car, but he realizes it's starting to slide. You got to hit the throttle and try to pull it back down. Not going to work. Loose stuff caught him this time. Almost got him a dozer in that one, too. But Big Al was okay. Climbs out the windshield. Crowd loved it. Big Al seemed to like it, too. What do they say? You get 15 minutes of glory, you help share his. Now we're going to keep an eye on Shane Back. He's out of the Bluegrass State, driving the Attitude Adjuster. It's a 23 Ford Roadster. He's going up against downtown Dan Brown. Far lane, keep an eye on it. The Roadster's out. Hooks a run on the left side. Starts to make an easy roll, goes over, and take it on back to the pits. My man, you're okay. Kind of like a cat. Sometimes you just land on your feet. That's exactly what he did here. He hooked a run on the left side. Dan Brown goes by him trying to stay out of the way. Watch him try to hit the throttle. Not going to work for him. Right turn, Clyde. Back to the pits. Well, this angle shows us all the safety equipment work. Arm restraint, seat belt, helmet, and everything. Just a bad day. A little sideways momentum he didn't need. Shane Back takes his helmet off. Well, you can see he couldn't see. Looks like the old Kentucky Colonel will have to wait for another day to go on the winner's circle. He's okay. Let's go racing one more time. Look who's coming out now. The Mud Rat, Rodney Covington, Mr. Excitement. If he goes straight, he's a rocket. If he hits something, he's in trouble. He's on the right side of your screen. I don't need to say anything else. He hit something, he's in trouble. He literally jumped out of the pit. The vehicles have a tendency to what they call hook ruts. That's what you're going to see in this sport that other sports don't have. You got to run in the rut of the guy that ran in front of you. He's up against Tom Martin in this run right here. Martin in the Mud Patrol closest to us. Martin, a past indoor national champion. Keep an eye on the far lane, though. Showtime, showtime, showtime. Covington was okay. The track crew got him squared away. He was stunned a little bit. made a good run. He knew he was going to have to land a perfect shot to get past Martin, and that's exactly what he did. This is what mud racing's all about. This is not. I'm going to give him about a 7.5 for 2.5 with a twist. If it had a gainer to it, he'd have got more points. The style was good. He lived to race another day. It says a lot for the construction of the vehicles. You don't just stick these things together. They're put together right. You know, if you're going to build one of these things, you also have to put together a place where you can hook onto it and tow it away if need be the case. Indianapolis, Indiana. Keep an eye on the vehicle closest to you. Rick Wheeler. They call it alley-oop, but those of you of rock and roll history know that alley-oop was a mean motor scooter and a bad go-getter. He just didn't know which way to go through, on his top, on his side, on the bottom. Literally drove the wheels off his thing. Meanwhile, the fellow in the background, sir, you can play through. Replay comes up, you can see he's got a good track to run on the right side of the track is what we're watching right now. Alley-oop, a naturally aspirated vehicle, means it runs a carburetor, gets out of the pit good. Now you got to shut it down. This is where the problem. He's on the gas trying to pull it back. Nope, not going to work. And literally, like we said earlier, slings the wheels off of it. He was okay. Alley-oop, rock and roll again another day. Just wasn't going to be this one. Another angle is going to show us exactly what happened. He made a good run through the pit, but the shutdown area, see, it's kind of slippery, and there's nothing in the world any slicker than wet grass or mud. He'll attest to that. Hey, you want some more monster trucks? Hey, you don't have a choice. We're going to show you some right now, and you're going to see some good stuff. And I tell you what, there's a guy out of Texas named Scott Stevens. He had good days and bad days. Sometimes felt like more bad than good. It's just a sample of what you're looking at there. Monster trucks. Don't think for a minute this isn't real racing, folks. How about Wayne Smozani? He had just bought this truck. Been traveled around the country under the name of the Nightlife. Wayne was doing good, a brand new truck, until he tried to turn off the course. Look what happened with the rear end. A monster truck is 4x4x4. Four-wheel drive, four-wheel steer. This one looks like a little chop-top lowrider you see at your local rod runs. Checking it out to see how far the top did come down. He was okay, but we'd have to work again all night long to get that top pushed back out. The replay is going to show you. I want you to watch the rear tires. The front end is steered with the right hand. The rear end of the vehicle is steered with the toggle switch. Something happened to the rear and it just came around on him. Wayne was literally just along for the ride.
Hey, Wayne, what happened out there?
Army, we hit the second set of cars wide open because that's the only way you can keep up with these guys. And what happened was, the best I can tell, I slung the power steering belts off and lost the steering. When I got back on the ground, the truck was up on its side, which normally wouldn't be a bad situation, but of course, without the assist of the hydraulic steering, you just can't muscle the truck around.
Brian Welch ended up in a similar position. During a night qualifying session, the moving violation truck, watch this, on his side, on his nose, on its other side, on his top. I think you call that a full Nelson if you're going to muscle something around. They literally had to tear the top off his truck to get the driver out. He was okay, but fiberglass is cheap when it's compared to a driver's life. Replay comes up on the screen. It was really a violent accident. Brian's along for the ride. The truck attitude, it nosed over on him. The 10,000-pound truck, the back of the truck made a move to the right, see? Now he comes down and lands. The back is not trucking with the front, meaning it's not going in the same direction. And this, my friend, is called a high side. But we told you earlier, if you get on the gas, you can pull it out. He did just that. He pulled it out. It just went too far. Replay is going to show you when he lands how the truck does not land straight. See, the back was not behind the front. Now it's lollygagging. It's like a pendulum. What do we call it? A full Nelson? Well, that's a stranglehold in a full Nelson here, because he's going to be out of here. Sometimes you get involved with near misses, and on this particular day at Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, keep an eye on Bigfoot running this Nemesis barefoot. Both vehicles almost touch each other. And you know what would have happened had they made good contact. But for now, let's go to the RCA Dome and see Bigfoot with Eric Meager. He squared off against the Dungeon of Doom. Track is 250 feet long. The wall's 280 feet away. He had about a 281 run on this. Keep an eye on Meager. On the brakes, trying to shut it down. On the brakes, tag. You're in. When the truck settled down, finally, he was just too close to the wall. You can see the truck was out of shape from the word go. On the rear wheels, he hits the second jump. Now he knows it's over. It's going to get on the side. You got to get the truck settled down. Only thing he's got to do is to try to backpedal. Once he does get it down, all he can do is dot the I. And that's exactly what he did. This was the brand new debut for the F-150 Ford truck, and all the Ford officials were there to see this new front end. I don't think they wanted to see the new front end damaged when this was over. Eric Meager's run was nothing compared to what happened to Dan Runty in Canfield, Ohio. Meager had a problem with the wall. Runty's going to have a problem with a little bit of a berm on the right side of the vehicle. There's about a 4-foot drop-off. He's in that lane. Matter of fact, you qualify to stay away from the lane. The lane that got lane choice was the Sting in the far side. Runty closest to you. You can see the grassy knoll, if you will. Watch what happens when the right rear tire gets on it. Big trouble. That's called a high side. Meager tapped the wall. Runty dug a hole. One more time, a good start by both trucks. Runty has a good run going here. Everything settles down. The truck's a little bit crooked now. You see he goes to correct it. He wants to stay away from where the rear tire just hit. That throws the truck out of shape. The 3.5 to 4 foot drop, you can see he drove off the end of the world. A little bit of the carnage that was left after. Dan was okay. All the safety equipment worked. The MTRA sanctioning body, all the specs and everything worked. He comes out, thanks the crowd, thanks his crew chief. Accidents happen to the best of them. Speaking of the best of them, let's go over to the Chevrolet camp and watch what happened to Dan Patrick. You don't have to be real violent to get yourself in trouble. Patrick making a qualifying shot at Springfield, Missouri, gets caught in just a little bit of wet grass. And he goes fencing, my friends. Touche. Well, worse things can definitely happen than going fencing. The first time the monster trucks went to Richmond Speedway. Keep an eye on a truck in the left lane. Steve Wilkie, USA 1, the Chevrolet, everybody pulling for him. Pulls the trigger, gets caught between the crunch cars and the finish line and literally rips the bottom end out of the truck. Wilkie, okay, acknowledges the crowd. They in turn cheer back for him. Replay is going to show you exactly what happened. He's a little bit crooked. Now notice how close his wheels are together compared to the truck in the right lane. That has a whole lot to do with the way the truck handles. Once he's out of shape, there's nothing else he can do about it. As a matter of fact, my friend, this is called turning a 4-wheel drive into a 2-wheel drive real quick. I caught up with Steve a few minutes later and talked about his day at the office.
People don't realize how important it is for you to stay in the throttle. A lot of people think, well, wait a minute, if you just backed out of the throttle, everything would be okay. That's not the case at all. If you'd have backed out of the throttle, you'd have really been in trouble, wouldn't you?
Oh, definitely, Army. When you land in any contorted position, meaning nose over, up on 2 wheels, bicycling the truck, anything like that, especially when you're nose over, you want to drive that front end out.
Drive it out, Steve, not off. Now, sometimes the driver can just save it. They call it driving by the seat of the pants. And a master of that, Gary Porter, the Carolina Crusher. Check his on-the-job training out. The guy's either awful good or awful lucky. I think he's good and lucky. Louisville, Kentucky on the 8th mile. Keep an eye on this. Like looking down the barrel of a cannon. Porter sets up on his back wheel. I got the little Kodak camera, had a heck of a seat. Porter once again, a crowd favorite, showing sometimes you just don't get them stopped as quick as you want to. But this strong privateer showed that he could run with anybody in the country, whether it be the Bigfoot team or wherever. Gary Porter out of Wadesville, North Carolina, showed he could run with them. He also showed he could stop with them. Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, the Yodog Barrier people, they're from here. He was test driving for them that day, I believe. Oh, by the way, the barriers do work. They stopped the 10,000-pound monster truck. Replay is going to come up on the screen. Keep an eye on Gary. He's on the right side. Really, the Yodog barriers were designed here and they're used for safety on road construction, so they put them out there to protect a pole. They did their job. So Gary Porter not only helped the local economy by testing the JoJo blocks, makes the environmentalists happy too because he watered the track. Hey, let's take a look at Porter. The Carolina Crusher, champion, true showman, machined for over a decade, all the racers had to worry about. Let's have a Mud Monster Madness salute to this guy. One of the best in the sport. Our salute to one of the best, Gary Porter and the awesome Carolina Crusher. Hey, we hope you've enjoyed this extravaganza of mud buggies and monster truck madness. Thrills and spills you can watch over and over again. Keep your eye out for more in this series, and from all the daring drivers and from all of us at Diamond P Sports, I'm Army Armstrong. Remember to keep the shiny side up.
You wanted more action? You've got more action. We have the thrills, chills, and spills from the greatest moments in your favorite motorsports. 14 exciting new titles from Diamond P Sports will keep you pinned in your seat with high-speed hijinks the likes of which you have never seen before. Call Diamond P Sports at 1-800-421-0725 to surround yourself with horsepower at the 1998 U.S. Nationals. With this compact disc, you will hear drag racing the way it's meant to be heard, just like you were on the track with the thunder and roar of the engines. Recorded digitally in Dolby Surround Sound, it's a full audio sensory experience and a perfect companion to Thunder at the U.S. Nationals. The incredible sights and sounds of NHRA Championship drag racing from the 1998 U.S. Nationals, recorded digitally in Dolby Surround Sound. Call 1-800-421-0725 to turn your chair into a cockpit and surround yourself with action and the awesome sound of Thunder at the U.S. Nationals. NHRA Championship Drag Racing's 1998 season was so exciting it couldn't be contained on one videotape, so now we have two. Order Drag Racing 98 Volume 1 and relive the intense competition in Top Fuel, Federal Mogul Dragsters and Funny Cars, and NHRA's newest class, Pro Stock Trucks. Call 1-800-421-0725 to complete your collection with Volume 2 to witness Matt Hines' domination of the Pro Stock bikes, the fierce battle for supremacy in Funny Car, and a lesson in Pro Stock Car by, you guessed it, the Professor Warren Johnson. Call 1-800-421-0725 to add Along for the Ride to your collection. The most spectacular shots from our onboard cameras. You are in the driver's seat for the most thrilling and sometimes terrifying rides of your life. Ride in the rooster tail of unlimited hydroplanes. Go along for the 4-second thrill ride of NHRA's Championship Drag Racing. And then pitch it sideways with World of Outlaw sprint cars. But hey, watch out for your fellow drivers. Explosions, blowovers, and devastating crashes will have you on the edge of your seat in racing's great escapes. Call 1-800-421-0725 to see NHRA Championship Drag Racing drivers go ballistic. World of Outlaw sprint cars tumble across the track and over each other. Unlimited hydroplanes go wildly out of control, heading for watery destruction. It looks bad, it is bad. But amazingly, in each harrowing incident, the driver escapes to race another day. Call 1-800-421-0725 for Diamond P's exciting new action video, Wheels in the Sky. You'll see the NHRA's most incredible wheel stands of all time from the Diamond P archives. They are supposed to go fast and break records. They are supposed to give spectators the thrill of a close race. They are not supposed to fly. Call 1-800-421-0725 to get the best seat in the house for watching the action, and we're going to make sure you don't miss a thing. Hair-raising white-knuckle action abounds in these outrageous crash tapes. Call 1-800-421-0725 to receive Diamond P's new collector series. And they walked away extreme 1, 2, and 3. Pushing beyond the limit to the extreme, drivers are helpless to do anything but hang on for the thrill of their lives as their rides flip, roll, tumble, and crunch. But after each heart-pounding incident, the driver beats the odds and walks away. Call 1-800-421-0725 and order Mud and Monster Madness 1 and 2. If you like big trucks, we mean really big trucks, and in-your-face gritty action, then these tapes are the must-have for your video collection. Metal monsters fly out of control, and mud racers go bog wild, racing for the win in the quagmire. Call 1-800-421-0725 to receive the absolute best madness from the mud and the monsters. You've never seen or heard racing action like this from Diamond P Sports, and it can all be yours today by just calling 1-800-421-0725.